weak passages. Now, the three basic sentence patterns. Three basic sentence patterns are the simple, compound, there we go, and complex. Those are the three basic sentence patterns that we have. Now, the differences among these are the number and relationships of clauses. A clause, I'll put this in like parentheses in case you don't know. Clauses are word groups made up of a subject and verb. Not necessarily a sentence, because like we saw here, they could be subordinated, right? Its main operating cost is oil replacement. That is a clause, but it's not a whole complete sentence right there. So a simple sentence is basically one clause. You have a subject and a verb. And then you might have, so you have one clause, which is a subject and a verb, and then you can add to that adjectives and adverbs and other phrases, modifiers, things like that. So, for example, let's come up with a scientific sentence. How about this one? The phytoplankton are light sensitive. They absorb oxygen rapidly at 60 degrees. Simple sentences. We have our clause, the phytoplankton subject, are, verb, light sensitive. They, subject, absorb, verb, oxygen rapidly. We have our direct object, adverb, prepositional phrase, right down there at the end. Simple sentence. Yes, usually simple sentences are short. What's great about simple sentences is that, of course, they can be combined with the help of conjunctions to make compound sentences. So these are, compound sentences are clauses joined by conjunctions. So, for example, the phytoplankton are light sensitive and they absorb oxygen rapidly at 60 degrees Celsius. That is a compound sentence because it has combined two clauses using a conjunction. Now, in a complex sentence, the two clauses, have a hierarchical relationship. You notice here, the phytoplankton are light sensitive. They absorb oxygen rapidly at 60 degrees Celsius. Those two clauses, they're kind of, on the same plane. Their information is equally important, I suppose. But in a complex sentence, the clauses are hierarchical. We have a main clause, and it's going to be linked to one or more dependent clauses by a subordinated conjunction. So, for example, like if they are light sensitive, the phytoplankton absorb oxygen rapidly at 60. This is important information. Phytoplankton absorb oxygen rapidly at 60 degrees Celsius, but this information over here has been subordinated. This is a subordinated clause because you have that if right there. If they are light sensitive, the phytoplankton absorb oxygen rapidly. So those are the three types of sentences. So what you're going to do is you're going to get some practice analyzing writing for style. Do most of your sentences, so here are the questions that you're going to be asking. Questions to ask. 1. Do most of your sentences fit just one of these patterns? If they do, look for ways to vary them. If you're writing a lot of simple sentences, subject, verb, object, consider combining them. Consider emphasizing hierarchical relationships between the information in the sentences. Use different conjunctions. Varied sentence structure with sentences of different lengths will make your writing livelier and easier to read. So look at length. So that doesn't mean take every single simple sentence that you have and combine them or organize them in a hierarchical relationship. Try to understand each one that you use, and yeah, if you can write a couple of short, simple sentences for emphasis and use complex sentences for analysis, perhaps. And so that'll help you vary up your length also. Now, you can, of course, solve all grammatical and stylistic errors by varying your sentence structure, but learning, I think, how to analyze sentences will help you avoid some of the common problems. Weak sentence structure clouds meaning. So attention to your sentence structure should help clarify your writing. So, some things with some problems that come up with length while we're talking about length. Long sentences. When I say your sentences are long, consider shortening or breaking apart your long sentence. Wow, how did I get way over there? Come over here. There you go. I'm talking about like words that are more than like 30 words. These are usually too complicated, too cumbersome. So what you need to do is if you see long sentences, have long sentences, here's some of the things that you need to determine. Here we go. Is really you just need to determine what is the main action. If you boiled that sentence down to a simple sentence, what is the main action that you want to communicate? And then when you find the main action or actions, then take each main action and give it its own sentence. So for example, let's take a look at this one. Okay, so here's a long sentence. I'll copy this one over that I wrote earlier. In gasoline engines, designers leave a space between the piston and its cylinder that contributes to the exhaust emission problem, because as the engine is started and begins to warm up, the cylinder liner, which is directly cooled by its surrounding coolant, expands more slowly than the piston, allowing exhaust gases to escape. 53 words. That sentence is, yes, 53 words. Oh my gosh. So, what we do is we look for the main action, the main ideas, and see if we can break this one sentence up into, I don't want to say shorter sentences, I want to say manageable units. So, you look for the main action, and you give each main action its own sentence or its own manageable unit. How about that? So we're talking science. We can talk all sciencey. Manageable unit. So check out this one. This is the improved one. So here we're starting off with all those. So we've taken this long sentence and we're already using a complex sentence structure to emphasize the hierarchical relationship between the material. Although the space that gasoline engine designers leave between the piston and its cylinder allows the piston to expand more rapidly at startup, the space also contributes to the exhaust emission problem. Well, it's 32 words, so it's better. Okay, it's not the best, but it is improved. It is improved. The cylinder liner, which is directly cooled by its surrounding coolant, expands more slowly than the piston, allowing exhaust gases to escape. So 22 words. So instead of this 55-word behemoth we have over here, 53-word, we have a 30-word sentence and then a 20-word sentence. So it breaks up the information a little bit better. Let's see. Some other things to ask for, let's see, sentences. Let's see. We got the patterns, various sentences.